collect about $50,000 a month off of the cash flow, and we get great tax benefits with a bunch of cost segregations. We do short-term rentals. Most people go after the deal, the real estate, the investment, or the opportunity comes by. They see that first, and then they're like, oh crap, now I need to get the money for it. So they don't have a foundation. There's 45 different metrics on how these banks and lenders are judging you. Those are the rules. And if you don't know them, then you're winging it. And of course you're getting denied. When you actually know how to get this capital first, you can take down selectively the right opportunities and cash flow like crazy. It would be really just cool to see the legacy that I've created and the impact and the people that I've inspired and the givings that I've been able to.
Welcome back to the REM podcast. My name is Noah, and today we have
Brandon Elliot. What's up, guys? How we doing?
What's going on? Thank you for coming on and taking the time. I want to start by kind of getting your journey into real estate and what specifically drew you to this niche.
Yeah, man. Back in 2011, I started working for a company. I was doing door-to-door sales for Kirby vacuum cleaners. It was kind of wild. And I got good at it. And I knocked on somebody's door and they told me, hey, you got to work for me. We're doing real estate. And I was like, sounds cool. And so I ended up getting a lot of education around that time. It was a lot of NODs, notice of default, foreclosure stuff. And so I saw the system in place when I was working with them, and it was so exciting and it like lit me up that I wanted to do more and more of it. We were helping out a lot of people, making a lot of money, and the systems were in place, which was very exciting. So that's what kind of got me started. And I just started soaking up all the books, podcasts, YouTube like this to be able to get more education on it.
Awesome. And give us a little backstory. What was your life like before entering real estate?
So I used to be a big pothead. I'm from New Jersey originally, moved out here to San Diego, California in 2010. And I was just lost, misguided. I grew up without a father figure or anybody. My mom was manic depressive bipolar. And so we grew up American poor, I say. So we always had like food stamps or like help, Section 8, help from local churches and schools around Christmas and Thanksgiving, stuff like that. So super blessed. But it was always about like the lights, being on, or like, are we going to make rent type of thing. And so at a young age, I got my first job at age 12, and then being in that atmosphere around restaurants under the table and everybody else was smoking weed around me, I ended up doing that as well and liked it and laughed for the first time, all that stuff. And it took me down this bad path. So yeah, eventually I just made all the mistakes. Like I had an explosion in my apartment making hash oil, like a complete moron. That was September 25th, 2013. I was trying to make a bunch of hash oil and sell it and trying to catch the sunset and surf before I did. So I was rushing and a bunch of stupid things. And really, I needed that time in that moment, because my personality type, if I would have got like a little slap on the wrist, like nothing would have changed. I needed God to like totally take me off the path that I was on and say enough is enough and have an explosion on that road so that I could get on the track that I was destined for. And that's what I needed. And so unfortunately, I had an explosion. All the windows popped out. There was fire in the kitchen. I was on fire. I got tossed in about 5 feet into my living room. I hopped up and I realized like I'm on fire. I was wearing basketball shorts, socks, and a t-shirt, and the t-shirt, burnt right off me. The socks protected me. I was wearing baseball gloves randomly, which protected my hands. Like you could see skin graft there, but I burnt 40% of my body. I was induced into a coma for a week. I went through 3 surgeries. I had to learn how to walk again. It was just a crazy pivotal point in my life that like just something had to change. And I had court charges over me. I was facing up to 12 years in prison, like first time. And I was like, oh, like what? Like, young, dumb, and misguided. And just, I was like, there's no like second chances. Like I didn't know, And so eventually I got a lawyer, I got a mentor, and I was getting coached on what to do and start changing my life. And yeah, long story short, the day when court came around, finally 2 years later, I had the opportunity to share my story, and the judge was about to sentence me to 3 years in prison, which was like, what the heck? I'm looking at my lawyer like, what did you do? Like, how did we do this? And after I was prepared from a mentor. After I got to share my story and I just rattled off for about 10 minutes, they realized it wasn't malicious. It wasn't going to happen again. And she just did a complete 180, and she gave me house arrest, and she gave me an opportunity. I got 2 felonies, a misdemeanor, and house arrest and probation for 3 years. Just last year, I actually went back to court and got everything removed. And so I don't have that stuff on my record anymore, because when I have kids in the next few years, I want to make sure, like, I'll still tell them my story, but I can say like, hey, I fought, to get things corrected. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started. Was I needed something different, and I was tired of working restaurants. I was tired of being around the wrong crowd, wrong people, selling drugs, doing drugs, and real estate started getting me excited. And so I just went down this rabbit hole of work my tail off, 2 jobs full time, and study 4 hours every single day for 2 years. And so when 2015 come around, I finally had the cojones to take action and fail forward and make all the mistakes, but still started blessing after blessing came. And the Burr strategy is what I fell in love with.
That's awesome. When it comes to going back to your first job, I'm assuming it was the waiter job. When it comes to waiters, I feel like it's almost a stepping stone into sales. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And how do you think that helped where you're at now?
Well, my first job, technically, I was 12 years old, and I was scrubbing dishes in the back of a restaurant. And God bless the woman. She was like my guardian angel. She owned the restaurant. I met her at church, and she saw that I was trying, since 9 years old, I was trying to pick weeds in the neighborhood and cut grass and try to get a job. And so she ended up giving me an opportunity. But I was supposed to be 18 years old to work there, because they had a couple bars and everything else. So they treated me as one of their kids and paid me under the table, and it was awesome. But yeah, I think getting to communicate, especially believe it or not, I'm actually very introvert, and I get worn out after pouring my all. And for a long time, I don't like all eyes on me or all attention. And so that was nerve wracking. But I think getting to do, the waitering and serving, it helps get out of your bubble, get to network with people and get to learn more about people. And communication skills are so imperative. It's so important for your success. How to communicate, it's everything, right? And doing door-to-door sales has really helped take me to the next level as well. There's nothing better than getting a door slammed in your face and all your feelings tossed out the window of oh, dang. And then being able to provide value, right? And serve somebody to the highest, possibility. It's a great, great feeling.
That's awesome. When you look back then to today, what does your business look like right now? And where are you planning to go with it for the next, couple years?
For sure. So 2015, I got started in real estate, and it totally changed my life, changed my life. Within just 2 years, I was able to get out of the restaurants, and I was making much, I think my first year, I started making about 10,000 in cash flow, because I just hustled. And I was making way more than I was making in restaurants, but I kept the jobs because I had that poor poverty mindset. Eventually, I got fired 2 years later because I was taking all these real estate calls and all these things during the day. They were like, dude, what do you go
Can't
get
do
out
that.
of here. Yeah, you can't do that. You got to care about this business and your job more, and you do your own thing outside of it. And I respect that. And I just wasn't, I was doing them wrong, so they gave me the blessing. It was terrifying at first, like it is for any brand new entrepreneur. But when I went all in, there was blessings one after another after that. The next 2 days later, I got an opportunity to start investing out here locally in San Diego, and I made $160,000 in 6 months. It was just night and day difference. And so nowadays, 10 years in the game, we've been for real estate. We have 14 million in real estate assets. We have about 4.3 million in equity. We collect about $50,000 a month off of the cash flow, and we get great tax benefits with a bunch of cost segregations. We do short-term rentals. We're actually doing a little switcheroo on some long-term rentals just because of the overall market, what we've seen. But I'm not the guy that's taking down a dozen properties per month, or even 12 properties in a year. I'm just not that guy. I take down 1 or 2 deals, but I go for home runs every year. 1 or 2 deals per year. And I'm aiming for on the worst case scenario, $250,000, but really aiming for $500,000 or more off of these deals. And so it's been a huge blessing. Our other business, it's an online coaching program, a Credit Counsel Elite. We teach business owners how to actually be able to get the funding, right? Real estate was the thing that changed my life. Credit was the catalyst to be able to put the fuel to the fire. And without credit, I don't know where I would be 100%. 0%. So we teach business owners how to be able to get up to 500,000 with rates as low as 0% and how to be able to repeat that every 6 months per person. And so we started our own business for that, teaching people in 2017. And we've helped out over 3,800 members now. We have about 20 employees. It's been incredible.
Want to get motivated sellers that nobody knows about? Introducing 10x TV. If you want to create credibility in your market, find deals that nobody else knows about, and crush your competition, you need to check into TV commercials. It is the new buzz in the real estate investing industry since we introduced it several years ago. I've been using TV commercials myself for the last 12 years and it's absolutely crushed it. So if you want to learn how to get on TV and to do something that little to no people are doing right now, go to claimmymarket.com. Again, that's claimmymarket.com. We usually only work with 2 investors per market, so if you're interested, reach out to us and book a call to see if you can claim your market before anybody else does. Now back to the show.
When it comes to credit and getting loans and lines of credit, why do you think so many investors overlook that piece of it and how much they can really utilize?
Yeah, well, number one, you don't know what you don't know. And because it wasn't taught in school and it wasn't taught at the dinner table, we're all playing real life Monopoly, like the board game, except nobody knows the rules. Like when you're playing Monopoly around, the holidays with your friends and family, like when you pass go, what are you supposed to collect?
When you pass go, it's like $200, right?
$200.
Yeah.
Like it's all engraved in us. Like we know this to be true. We know the rules, right? And so when you're playing, if you forget because you're like having fun, you're just laughing a bunch, then maybe you'll get like a little bump, a little elbow from your friends and family and say like, hey, don't forget your $200, right? If you're playing with my family, I'm promised like they're playing to win.
Oh, it's the East
"Shut up."
Coasters for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
And
family's not saying anything either.
they're not saying nothing, right? It's that East Coast love, right?
Oh yeah. You got to pay
Savages.
attention.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things. It's like, that's so true to life. Like we're playing real life Monopoly right now, except nobody knows the rules. So therefore, you're not getting the funding that you could. Here in America, they give out so much funding. We actually have a list of 9,500 banks, state by state, in order from top to bottom, which ones give out the most funding. And we have it broken down. They all want to lend to us, right? They need to lend to us. If they're not lending, they will go out of business, right? They're looking for high and low risk. And if you don't know how to position yourself in front of them properly, we always go for no or low doc type of requirements. But if you don't do that, then you're just winging it because you don't know the rules. Therefore, you're getting denied. And most people, let's be really clear, most people go after the deal, the real estate, the investment, or the opportunity comes by. They see that first. And then they're like, oh crap, now I need to get the money for it. So they don't have a foundation. What I can tell you is like, when you learn how to get a bunch of funding at the best terms and conditions, and you know how to talk to the banks properly, then you have that foundation and you can beat out the competition quickly and you're not panicking, you're not losing sleep. Like we just teach that whole process.
Gotcha. What do you think the most common misconception is about that offer?
Most people think that they need to show a bunch of tax returns or documents, or because they don't make enough or something, they're like, no, this bank isn't going to get me approved. Or you say you can get funding with Chase and Bank of America, but no, I've tried and I got denied. And it's like, you're doing it in your own way. What you don't realize is that there's 45 different metrics on how these banks and lenders are judging you. Those are the rules. And if you don't know them, then you're winging it. And of course you're getting denied. So if you learn those rules, there's a box that these banks are trying to place you in as a low risk so that you fit within their box of lending. And if you say the right things, if you position yourself with a strong relationship, and if your 6 boxes that make up your credit profile are in good shape, you don't need to show any tax returns. You don't need to show any documentation. You just need to position yourself properly so that you fit dead center in the middle of that box and get them to say yes. We can actually, like with our methods, we show people how to get up to 90% approval odds with the highest limits possible and the best terms and conditions.
That's awesome. Back to the real estate side. We're definitely in a weird space right now in real estate. When you pick up deals, I know you said you're only doing 1 or 2 a year, just home run deals. Are you doing more Burr, or are you keeping them all as rentals, or are you doing some fix and flip, or what's kind of your strategy today?
100%. So my main bread and butter is always the Burr strategy. That's my number one thing. If the return on that, like the refi, is just so crazy, and it makes sense, cash on cash. Like there's one deal that we ended up in 90 days did a renovation and we were going to refinance it, but we were about to actually net 475,000 after all expenses were paid. We got a wire for 730. We were like, if I refinanced it, yes, I would have no money into it. Great. And yes, we'd get some tax benefits. Great. But we were already good that year on taxes from other properties. And the cash flow, it was, a couple grand. So it's like, I could just get all that money right now, put it to work, versus it would take me a couple years to be able to get that money back. So cash on cash value, it just made sense to like sell it. We don't like to sell it as much as we can. We want to keep it. But yeah, it's always Burr strategy first. And then if the numbers make sense to just offload it, then we're not going to be a fool with it.
Gotcha. Awesome. Cool. Can you share maybe one or two key strategies that you guys are using that have made the biggest impact for you this year?
I think networking is always key when you're getting yourself around the right network. Mastermind groups is what I'm talking about. Pay to play. I constantly invest $250,000 into myself each and every year. And it's been able to bless me. One of my best, most incredible, strongest investments and greatest mentors is Ken Clothier with Boardroom. And just honest to God, I say he's like a brother from another, even though like I'm the age of his like son. So he's like, but kind of sounds weird, like a father figure. But he's like that dude. He's that guy. He's very similar to me. And he's got his heart in the right place. And he's been there and he's done it. And he's helped me out tremendously, real estate wise, but also just life and credits and like business wise and structure. And so that's been just investing in myself and getting around people to pay to play and take the elevator approach. It's like a slingshot right to the top. And that's been incredible for us. Yeah, I think so many people sleep on credit. And so I would always just encourage, if you need money right now, like we all do, good. Let me show you how to talk to these banks properly and get some incredible results. It's a game changer when you were prepared and positioned before that opportunity comes around. A lot of people that are listening to this, you guys all know, you guys are strong entrepreneurs and hustlers that know how to find opportunities. Opportunities come and go and you can see them, you can capture them. But if you constantly are missing out on them, when's enough? It brings a lot of peace when you actually know how to get this capital first. You can take down selectively the right opportunities and cash flow like crazy.
That's awesome. Obviously, there's a lot of people in this space that call themselves real estate investors, and then there's, the higher end real estate investors. What do you think separates the top investors from everyone else in your experience?
I think just action, the do part is pretty important. And then realizing that it sounds cool. It sounds all the things of being a real estate investor, but you got to understand, it's a business. It's not complicated to buy something beat up and make something pretty and then make it valuable and build value. It's very simple, right? People overcomplicate it out there. The ones that want to be gurus, totally cool. But it's we all have something to teach and help people out with, which is great. But understand, it's not complicated to do it, but you got to, when you treat it as a business, like a real business, and you're really tracking KPIs and real data-driven decisions, then now you have a business. And so business is business for anything. If you show me your KPIs and your numbers, I can start picking it apart and I can start blessing and guiding and saying, hey, having critical questions to ask and challenging certain areas. That's the different piece that I think a lot of people that are very talented and skilled, they have that piece of it dialed down, the business part. And it's really, really critical. And most people they're like, what are KPIs? What is that? It's oh man, we're not talking the same level. And if you're successful at it, great. Congratulations. How the hell did you do it? You're an ultimate hustler. But I bet you're pulling out your hair. And if you don't want to look like me, then it's you got to start dialing it and get the data and the financials down, because it always leaves a trail. It always leaves clues. And that gets really, really fun when you start understanding as the business side of it.
Yeah, for sure. When it comes to the word success, everyone has their own definition for it. What's your definition and what does it mean to you? And how do you use that to how you structure your business and how you live your life?
That's such a good question. The first thing that comes to mind is legacy and impact. Like the more people that I can serve, that I can bless, that I can inspire for them to do the same thing that I did or better than me. It's like, that's always so fulfilling, so motivating myself. I've had people that I've mentored and they get deals faster, stronger, better, like that. It's like you're just like championing them along, and it's like, yes, like that feels so good, because even when they're going through the mud of it and it's like difficult, you can see them freaking out. Like you only can laugh because it's like you've been there as well, and you're also looking at the whole picture when they're only seeing it like in there, and you're like, oh, you're gonna be fine, dude. You're overcomplicating it. Take a deep breath, and then you see them through it. Like that's a good feeling. But I think when I'm gone on this planet after 1,000 years, I'm just kidding. No, after I'm when my day's done here, it would be really just cool to see the legacy that I've created and the impact and the people that I've inspired and the givings that I've been able to acquire and pass on to others. Like we set up Credit Counsel Elite as a for-purpose business. And so 10% of gross income that comes in from the very top, we give back to nonprofits that we believe in and support. And so I would love to awesome. Like crank that up one day. My CFO always tells me we got to bring that down because it makes our margins look crazy. But it'd be cool to be able to crank that up, and like instead of giving like the natural tithing, church related is like give 10%. It'd be so cool to flip that. It's like live off 10% and give 90, just to see what that would look like. I feel like that'd be cool. I don't know if we'll ever get there, but I'm just saying that would be cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When it comes to, I feel like most investors get into the space for time freedom and to live a lifestyle that they can't do working for someone else, right? How do you balance? Because a lot of people then get into the space and they're like, whoa, this is a lot more time than I thought it was going to be. How do you balance that, work-life balance in your business?
That's so good, man. It's so funny. It's like everybody wants to become an entrepreneur for time freedom and financial freedom, right? And then you go all in. You got the balls to do it. Somebody tricked you into doing it, and you're like, damn, I'm actually giving like double my time. I quit my 40 hours a week to pick up 80. What the hell? Yeah, it's kind of funny. There's certain days that it's like in business that it's like you can be jumping for joy and like everything's going right, sunshine and rainbows. And then the next day it's like you're on suicide. Not really suicide watch. That's not even that's not fun or fair to even bring that up, but it's like you're on like, oh my god, like the world is melting around me, and it's a crazy ebb and flow that eventually you just laugh off in those moments. But yeah, I think the more that people identify that, like when I was first dating my now wife, this December will be 10 years for us. When we first got together, it was like one of those situations that I was like hustling. And so I wasn't treating it as a 9 to 5, like a normal job. And most business owners, like that won't be your situation either. You're going to have to figure out other hours. But what I started seeing is sacrifice within our relationship, because I'm working into the evening and late nights and early mornings. And she's more of a quality time. And as a man, it's very easy to say, well, babe, I'm doing it for the family. I'm doing it for our future, our finances, like doing it for our future kids, doing it for you. And you can get that resentment, but your woman doesn't care about that, fellas. Like They care about you. They care about the time. They care about like making sure you're good to be a warrior the next day. And so that little like back and forth until I finally had a good male figure, a good mentor, like pour into me and say like, hey, dum, like, you got it backwards, homeboy. Let me explain it to you. Then that was really eye opening to me. And things changed once I started trying to just time management, right? It's time management of understanding, hey, there's always going to be something to do. Always. So what needs to get done today, the top 3 things that's going to move the boat forward, and how do I elevate and delegate, and if it doesn't get done today, is it okay tomorrow? Are we going to die? Like, is it that bad? Are we really going to sacrifice? And there's going to be certain times that, hey, you do need to go above and beyond and get things done. Just having that conversation up front and allow her to be working with you, not colliding against you. There's going to be times that you're going to have to break those time restrictions. Otherwise, do your best to try to keep it as a 9 to 5 or something like that, so that you're not taken away from your kids, your family, because that's the biggest thing. Money will come and go. Your family's there for life. Make sure you don't break that bond.
Yeah, I love that. When it comes to the new AI, everyone's talking about
Yeah.
it. How is it affecting your business, and how do you think it's going to affect the business as far as real estate and your business, the credit part? How do you think it's going to affect that in the next, let's say, 1 to 5 years?
It's funny, man. I've been praying on this more frequently of praying that it like not turning this into my idol, and not like it's not like God will always be my number one, but it's like it's very I see myself on my phone more. I see us using AI, relying on it more, and not just relying in like what God's given us. And it's cool to all the techniques and strategy of what AI is doing and how we can actually just move like faster, further, smarter. Like you could do some crazy stuff, like wild. And our team is doing it. And it feels good because it looks like high level, something that would have cost us a grip of money, took a very long time, and only from like a professional, like top dollar lawyer or something like that, coder and all these things. And so seeing us use it, do it, and really aiming for excellence, it feels good on the fulfillment side because, it's something as if we would have had to find like 100 employees. Instead, we're knocking out like less than 30 and just like crushing it. I think it's only going to get better and better. And kind of like AI avatars and videos, like 2 years ago, it was a little like you could tell a little bit. And it's like, and like looking at stuff lately, I'm like, oh, that one actually looks really damn good. And it's like, well, we should actually invest now. That makes sense. But I'm also thinking, I bet you in the next 8 months, it's going to get like 10 times even better. And, but it's one of those things you still got to invest now and not wait for that, because if you don't do it, you're going to miss out. You're going to be well behind. So it's like, stay up to date with that stuff, use and abuse it while you can, and understand it's going to get better and better. But there's so much money to be made for others that aren't utilizing it, that you can capitalize off of and just really aim for excellence in such a powerful way to grow, start, scale your business.
That's awesome. If you were to start over from scratch today, real estate and credit wise, where would you start?
So if I had to start over, I would make sure, well, I guess I wouldn't have anything to start with, right? So I was going to say, like, I would cut off all my liabilities and expenses, and I would start doubling down on sales is going to be the number one thing. If I knew what I know now, I would just triple down on, and you don't even need to necessarily go door to door, even though that person in interaction is always going to be excellent. But you could just do a ton of social media. It's always about a funnel, right? It's like if you get in front of 1 million people, then you get 1 million people to know you, right? And then if out of 1 million people you get 100,000 that actually like you, then that's 100,000 out of that million, right? And then if you get 10,000 out of that 100,000 that actually trust you, now you have 10,000 potential buyers. And there's always something that they're going to either resonate with, that they're going to like, that they're just going to want to spend time with you. It could just be time that they're willing to spend, $5, $2, 10, whatever. You could have levels to it. So it's always about a funnel. How can I get in front of as many people as possible and just speak your truth? And also understand this isn't going to be probably relevant to anybody on here because a lot of people are dialed in, but for any guys or girls out there that you feel like you don't have something of value to give, that's nonsense. That's always BS. That's like getting in your ear, negative stuff or self-doubt. Like that's all BS. Every single person I've met has something that they're good at, that they're talented, way better than somebody else. That's just what it is. And so your goal in life is figure that thing out. Figure that out and double down on it. And there's somebody willing to pay you for that time,
100%.
effort, energy to get there further, faster, and not have to settle for less. So it's like double down on that thing that gets you excited and then bless other people with it. And they're willing to pay for it. So why not?
Oh yeah, 100%. I love it. What drives you to keep, innovating and helping other investors?
It feels really good putting the mask on your face. That analogy for like planes, right? Like feels good blessing our family for sure. It feels really good, not just taking care of myself, having the nice house and all the fancy, nice things, and then being able to buy properties for family members. Like that feels good. But there's something, it's really surprising for me it was, at least, when you see other people that you've just given them like the blueprint, like the step by step, the visual or the verbal of like, hey, this is what I did. I think if you just do this too in this order, it's going to work for you, and you could do something similar. And then they, like, the people that get a fraction of those results, it feels really good. But when somebody beats your results, or like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, holy cow. It's not just that even confirmation of it works, but it like, this is going, I know the ripple effect that it's going to have, not just for them, but for their family. And that feels so much more fulfilling than you could ever imagine, even for just like blessing our family internally and, you know, extended. It feels really, really good. And so I think that's something that definitely keeps me going. Especially, I got to remind myself that when like the business or the people, and you know, everything's a people business, and communication and everything, and meeting people are where they're at. There's nothing easy about human beings. So on those tough days, I lean on that, and that helps out for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, investing is definitely a marketing and sales business. That's for sure. That's the name of the game right there for sure. What's something that people would be surprised to learn about you?
You know, that's a tough question to answer, because I'm always so blunt, and I'm always so like transparent. Like, I really have nothing to hide or lose. I would normally say most people would assume that I'm very extrovert, and I'm very the opposite. I'm very introvert. But I think I already mentioned that on here. So I don't know. I have a dog. Like, you know, like I got a pit bull. I don't know.
Well, that's fine. Well, we'll take it. We'll take what we can
I
get.
don't know. I live in California. I don't know.
We'll take what we can get. I know you mentioned
Yeah.
Kent and in the boardroom. Has there anyone else that have been a big influence for you in the space?
Yeah, there's one gentleman, nobody would know him, but I'll shout him out. His name is Kit. He ended up passing a couple of years ago. He was an older gentleman. He was a doctor, and somebody here locally, he was in Encinitas, but I ended up meeting him when I was going through all my ish, and I needed to find a mentor in court. And I met him at a meeting. It was like an AA meeting type of thing. I didn't have drinking problems, but I went because I had to by court. And it was for like drug related stuff, like marijuana. And so he was the guy that poured into me. He was my mentor. Court kind of ordered, but he saw something in me more than I saw in myself at the time. He was the first like male role model figure that I had. And you don't know how much you need that as a dude. And like growing up in the 90s, you're like just macho, like I can do it. But it's like you really need somebody to pour into you and give a damn and pull out the best out of you. And that was for me, at least. That's all I can speak on. But he was that mentor that said like, hey man, you're going to have an opportunity to speak in court. And so no matter what happens, you got to be prepared for that. And back then, if I didn't have that like guardian angel to prep me for that and have me write things down and take notes, like I would have froze up and I would have been in jail for 3 years. That's like what was going to happen. And so luckily he prepped me for it, and that I could never be just super grateful for that man.
That's awesome. Well, first off, I'm very proud of you for, where you've come from there. That's awesome. Where can people, find you? Where can people learn more about you? Where can people connect with you?
Yeah, appreciate you, Noah, for having me on. This has been a blast. I greatly honor and appreciate you guys. You guys can always get connected with me on Instagram. We have my personal page is Brandon Elliot Investments. Feel free to DM me or follow me on there. Otherwise, our business page on Instagram is Credit Counsel Elite. If you're looking to get massive amounts of funding, we teach others how to be able to get up to 500,000 with interest rates as low as 0%, something that could be repeated every 6 months. You can check out creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite.com. And yeah, we have a podcast as well. It's called Ready, Set, Go, Real Estate Investing Podcast. We drop a new episode every Monday. So make sure you subscribe to that, listen to that, and obviously subscribe to this if you haven't already. That would be such a mistake. I don't know what you're doing. You should definitely do that right now.
I would have to agree.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh, yeah. Well, awesome. I appreciate you taking the time, brother. And it was great to finally talk to you in person. And appreciate you for coming on. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys. God bless. Thanks.